Hello, brothers and sisters. How's everybody? How's everybody doing tonight? I hope you're good out there. Of course, chances are probably dealing with some situation that's unnatural and we shouldn't be dealing with. Now, today you're going to look on your screen and say your truth. And what I mean by that is say your truth. Why are you searching for truth? Ask yourself that question. Is it because you want to know and later when you find out you just want to go about your life? Or do you search for truth because you want to see what truth really is and you're willing to change yourself for it and change the person you are? Or you can be a person that ignores truth at all costs and just lives in the world you want to live in. The chances are, if you're listening to my voice, you want to know truth to change the person you are, not just to hear truth and go about your merry way and pretend like you never heard it. Why is it important to know truth? Well, truth gives us the ability to see the deception that we were born in. It gives us the ability to see the world, the unnatural world, for what it really is and what it really does to us as an individual. Now, why is that important that we know the truth of those things? Because unfortunately, the unnatural world of the cities of steel and concrete aren't truly who we're meant to be naturally. The things that we do in these unnatural cities is not the natural things we were meant to be doing. It's not the unnatural ways that we live in these cities, or it's not the natural ways we were meant to live. We weren't meant to have homeless. We weren't meant to have sickly people. We were meant to use the land to the best of our ability, the land that was created for us freely, to help one another, to live together as one in nature with the plants and animals. But we don't live that way. We're not living the way we were naturally meant to live. And so we find ourselves born into these unnatural cities, programmed to live these unnatural lives that we live. And they program us in this unnatural world to be oblivious of the natural way we were meant to be, as we see with the Bible, the scripted Bible that programs our mind to confuse us on what is natural and what is unnatural. I mean, there's our true history that is missing, and they're hiding it from us, or it's lost forever. Because as natural humans, we know there was many years unrecorded, because men didn't know languages. Men and women didn't know languages, and men and women didn't know numbers. It doesn't record that truth in the scripted Bible. It starts off with the programming of languages and numbers, and it continues with the division of the borders. They named the land that they stole from us and the resources they stole from us. And we find ourselves in this world, and many of our brothers and sisters, most of our brothers and sisters, are not awake to this truth yet. They're not awake to this truth, and it still programs their mind and controls their thoughts and actions. But for the ones that are awake to this truth, they can see what this world was designed to do to us, each and every individual. It was designed to do the same thing to each of us. Set us and program us into a routine, controlled life. Each a little different from the other because of our own creativity, but still programmed to be who they want us to be in this world. They designed and we built, because we had no choice. They took us out of our natural, our world that was naturally created, and convinced us to live in a world that was unnatural and more convenient, more organized, more scheduled, and more programmed. And that's what humanity has chosen to do. And we can see, when we know truth, exactly how it affects our lives. And that's what gives us the power against the way we're programmed to live in it. Even though we're forced to work a job because they've stolen the land that was naturally created for us. They've stolen the resources that were naturally created for us. And they forced us to live by the money they created for us. They forced us to be enslaved in the time they created to schedule our lives in on the monthly calendar. And these truths, they're not just to say for shock value. They're to learn things from. They're to look at it in a rational manner and say, okay, I'm enslaved in the time that they created. I can accept that. All right? I don't want to be. I want to be free from that, but I do accept that they've enslaved me in the time they created, because I can see the month of the calendar year that they created to schedule my life in. Now, I'm going to break down that month, and I'm going to see how many bills that I have on that that month they scheduled my life in. And there's a lot of stress and anxiety when it comes to those bills that we pay with the money that they get us to cycle, and they that we're enslaved to live by. Okay, that's real. Now, if we stop running away from that truth and we accept it, our lives can be so much greater, because we now have full access and control of that month that they schedule our lives in. You understand? Because once you get over the shock and the initial shock and depression of being a slave, you can actually take control of the situation by knowing each and every way that they control you. And it's not valuable knowledge that you need to see the deception and the ways they create to bring negative emotions on our lives. Because each and every month we pay rent or we pay a mortgage. You know, it's up to you to get that rent or get that mortgage as low as possible wherever you choose to live and however you choose to live. So you control. If you're programmed to live a more lavish lifestyle and you can't really afford it, then you need to take that stress and anxiety out of your life that they control you with, and improve your emotional truth in yourself, and take control over the situation by finding a better place that you can more readily afford to live in. Don't give them the power of creating stress in your life. Don't give them the power of creating negative emotions that they create because of their system. Understand what that system is. Understand what it was meant to do. It was meant to give you the desire of having a better life, and what comes along with that better life is more stress, anxiety, and possibly depression. You may be stressing so much over a bill that you can't afford to pay, and you have no idea how you're going to pay for it. But understand what these things truly are. They're systems to control you. It's time for us to control them, you know. Control them. If you choose to continue to live in the world that they enslave you in, it's best that you know. It's best that you know. And it's the same thing with your car payment that you're scheduled to have each and every month. You know? I mean, some people have a ridiculous car payment they make each and every month because they have a higher class car, and that's where they get you with the class division as well. You know? They get you to think, okay, the more expensive the vehicle is, the better quality it is, and the higher class it is, and I'm programmed to think I'm doing much better in this world than somebody else if I have a better car. It's the way they divide us to think of ourselves as an individual, you know, say against another individual that doesn't have as much as you in this world. It's a way they control us to divide us more with each and every little thing they create for us in our lives. But say if you have a $400 or $500 car payment, you know, even a car payment that you can't really afford. Well, you have to look at the way they control us in this world. You have to look at the way they program us to live in this world. They program us, just like I said, with the class envy. And even if you don't have that class envy and you go for something more sporty and, you know, but it's brand new and it's got good paint job and, you know, runs like new. I mean, it's just the ways they get us to think in this world, to not just be satisfied with the car that we like, that gets us from point A to point B, but they program our minds to think that we need speed or we need a muscle car. You know, if you're into sports cars, or, you know, if you have a family, you need a minivan. You know, they program you what to, you know. They tell you what you need. They program you with what you need. And then they sell you what you need over and over and over again. Because they can't just make a vehicle for your entire lifetime. They have to get you to buy a vehicle, a brand new vehicle every year, if they could do that. And they try. You know, they can't make quality cars and make them to last a lifetime, a person's lifetime. No. They have to make you buy a brand new car to cycle the money they enslave you with every year. And they get you in that mindset. You know, they get you in that mindset. Class envy. It's terrible. But if you know truth, you can avoid that. And if you're one of the ones that are stressing out trying to make a car payment, get rid of that car. Okay? Get rid of that car. Even if it's at a loss, get rid of it. Buy yourself a beater. Something just to get to from point A to point B. Do some research, find beaters that are reliable. Something that you're not going to be spending a lot of money on repairs with. It's all about knowledge. Get rid of those big car payments they stress you out with. That's what they're designed to do. Create depression. Because they program you to feel like you have to live a certain way in this world. You have to have certain things in this world to be somebody in this world. You know, get rid of that. You don't need to be controlled by that anymore. You imagine if you get rid of that way of thinking and start thinking more natural and more. It not only saves you the money they enslave you with, but it frees yourself up from all that emotion they drain from you. Frees yourself from and gives you the ability to naturally think, because you threw away all the stuff that you know are lies and deceptions just to control you and enslave you. And it frees you up from it and frees your mind so you can think of more natural things as such as truth. For example, I mean, you look at your job and how we're forced to make money because they've stolen the land and the resources from us. And you honestly believe that, so you can take it a step further and you can say, okay, they created time to enslave me and with my job. Okay? You know that to be true. That's self-evident. You can't hide from that. You can't run from that. You can try your best all your life, but it'll always be true. You're going to be scheduled to live the same routine life. You're not running away from that. It's easy. You're always going to be there. That's the way it was planned. Okay? But once we know the truth about these things, we cannot let it control us. Like we can break free from it. And what do I mean by that? Okay. Take your job, for instance, your position in this world. Okay? Now, you were programmed to work for a corporation that enslaves many. All right? For the money that they say that you need in this world. All right? Now, if you understand that you're enslaved in time, and you've gotten over the depression of being enslaved in time, and you've gotten over the shock of being enslaved in time, then you can use it in your favor, because you already know you're enslaved in time. You already know that you're forced to work for the money that they enslave you with. Okay? These are things we know. Just get out of the way, and that's truth. Okay? Now, knowing that, whatever happens at work, you can just throw away. Okay? Say, for instance, if something happens at your job, the first thing you do when you get to work is clock into their time, right? You clock into their scheduled time. So right there you start your enslavement for that day. Okay? Anything that happens in that time of enslavement is irrelevant. It doesn't matter what it is. You can get mad at your another employee that you work with for some reason or another, about how you live in this program world, or what they're programmed by, or whatever the reason is. Or it could be a customer that you can have an altercation with about something stupid in this program world. All that shit you just forget about, when you clock out for the day. Leave it there. That's irrelevant. That shit, it doesn't matter. And this is the ability, this is the power that truth gives us, okay? Because you're only there. When you're clocked in as a slave for that corporation, you're only there to make the money they enslave you with. That's it. Anything that happens during that time is irrelevant. Irrelevant. Unless they're forcing you to do something against your will, which they do, they do plenty of that now. And people really have to make decisions on what they want to do, because the ways they control us now in our job is real, and it's serious with this COVID. You can't work unless you take a health assessment test every time you get it. You go to work. They usually make people either call the corporation, or they have a website or an app or something that they have to do every day, a health assessment. And then on top of that, they're going to force you to wear a mask. And then on top of that, they're going to force you to take your temperature every day, or they'll do it at the door. They'll force it on you like some kind of systematic Gestapo, And that's another thing. You know, we shouldn't put up with the things they make us put up with. They called all of us essential workers, okay, if we worked out in the public during the so-called mind-controlled pandemic. But, I mean, if we all just stood up and said, no, we're not going to do that. You're not going to force us to wear a mask. You're not going to force us to social distance. You're not going to force us to do things against our will. And if we all just stood up and did that, it wouldn't be an issue. But now we have an issue. Because they've been doing this kind of thing to us our entire lives. That's how they force us to pay for insurance for our car when we didn't used to have to. Okay? That's how they force us to have insurance on our bodies and we didn't used to have to. All right? Another scheduled payment in time. 2 more scheduled payments in time. Okay? On that calendar year. And we didn't stand up and say no. You know, because they program us from the beginning with the ridiculousness of all the things they program our minds to believe in. But when you know truth, you can have power over it and you can make real decisions in your life. And hopefully the final decision would be just to leave this motherfucker totally and start a whole new community based in truth and a more natural way of living, truthfully. I hope this rant and truth helps someone. I hope it helps you and gives you better control over the deception in your life. And gives you more power over the things that they cause you stress and anxiety with. That's what it's all about, you know. Leave those things at home, or leave the things that happen at your enslaved job at work. Okay? Don't bring them home with you. When you clock out, you successfully made the money they were gonna that they pay you with that for that day. That's it. Okay? Leave whatever happened there and go home and feel refreshed. And don't be controlled by the time. Try not to look at any clocks, any watches. Take your watch, throw it out, throw it away. Choose not to be enslaved in their time. Choose to know what it is and choose to control the ways they program us to be. Well, you guys take care, and I love you guys. Bye.